Thank you so much for deciding to join me today. I'm so excited to share this. Not really excited, but like I'm so happy I could talk to you. It feels like lately everything I've been working so hard on, everything, every goal, it just feels like everything is crumbling in my life. I finally had my dream job. I lost it after 2 months unfairly, not to my fault. The relationships I finally thought will work out for me, or that I thought certain people that will call me to spend time, they don't actually call me, or when I actually get to hang out with them, they only spend a very little time with me, and I always have to be the one who calls them, etc. So, and this video is not about comparing. It's not about my problems actually. The reason why I'm talking about my problems you'll find at the end of this video. And also, I had a bicycle because I live isolated in mountains, in forest, and a bicycle actually allowed me to, get fresh air, get fresh oxygen, get movement, which is a huge signal for the brain, and your brain automatically starts to, deal with your thoughts better. But I talk about it in other videos. So I also it just somehow broke it. So I'm not saying that people don't have worse problems. It's not about how huge these problems are, but I just feel so isolated. I feel so lonely. I feel like, especially romantically, I feel so isolated. I feel so empty inside. And the reason I'm talking about is because, of course, on social media, we see only the highlights of people. Everybody is on a vacation, or everybody is enjoying their own personal relationships, friendships. But like deep down, the case for majority of society is completely different. That's the first thing. And I was, especially when I lost my job, I was like trying to figure out billions of things that I could somehow, fix it or do whatever. But no. So, the reason why I'm making this video is because lately I've been talking about not forcing things or accepting things that happen in your life. This was always my biggest fear ever, because how could you even accept something that feels so insanely wrong inside your heart, no matter what is happening in your life? And why would you do that? And it always just came up to my mind like that. But as I mentioned in like 200 of my other videos, your brain has a bigger chance to naturally figure out a solution when you accept it. When you accept it, when you let it in the background. And the more you fight, I don't want to talk about this. I talked about it to detail in 200 of other videos, whatever. So it's so hard for me to accept certain things, because it's not because of the severity of how they are, but when you look at neuroscience, when you look at the brain, how the brain works, it's basically never your choice that a certain event feels a certain way. You're not really the one deciding that, but whatever. So I was like, how can I accept what is happening to me? None of that is helping. Nothing is helping me. The accepting stuff is not helping me. So I was like, okay, what do I do now? And then I was like, so actually life is so unexpected. You can be a millionaire one day, and then a day later you can die in a car crash, for example. Anything can happen. Life is so unexpected. It's just so bizarre that literally anything can happen in your life. And when it comes to goals, if you have goals, it's non-linear, like I said. Especially even gym. People don't have muscles for like 1 or 2 months. It feels like they're just wasting their hard-earned money, but later on something builds. It works the same way for any goals, even when it comes to career, whatever. So I was like, okay, there's nothing left for me to do. I was heavily entrapped. I was imprisoned by the manifestation stuff. It really imprisoned me. It made my mental health the worst ever. So I was like, okay, fuck it. I'm going to accept everything that is happening to me. Whether that's isolation, loss of job, loss of future, loneliness, maybe a little bit of depression, maybe like 400 videos on my channel with 0 views. I'm going to accept it. And I know it's really hard and weird. And I know people have worse problems than me, but like, I'm going to accept it. And, I also realized that when you actually want to follow a certain goal. I don't want to talk about this right now because I would need to talk about it for like 30 minutes, but I need to explain like 10 minutes about this sentence. Like everything, when you repeat to yourself, everything has to come by itself, even my actions towards it. That's fucking truth. And I know it sounds like a total nonsense and bullshit, but if I did explain it for like 15 minutes through neuroscience lens, you would understand it. So you don't have to adapt it. But like I won't talk about it right now. You don't have to. No. I'm so super grateful I could talk to you. I could share this because I think it's. I just really felt like it should be out there, So yeah, usually my videos are not this boring. I talk about many mind-blowing things about our thoughts, about our inner world, about happiness, about life. So I really believe you could choose a video that could actually, fascinate you, and you could probably spend your time nicely with me. But please don't feel like you have to hang out with me in other videos. Absolutely no pressure. Take care, especially take care, please. And I can't wait to catch you soon.